Hi friends, welcome to another recommendations video. I will share my recommendations for the upcoming Beautylish Spring Gift Card Event, but first, if it's your first time here, hi, I'm Alicia. Thank you so much for clicking on my video, and if you are returning, well, thank you for visiting me again. Kinky Sweat stands for my kinky hair and sweat life. I'm a fitness professional who loves things, all movement and beauty. If you want to check out what I do in between the makeup, so head over to my Instagram. The gift card event starts tomorrow 9 a.m. Pacific Standard or 12 p.m. Eastern, and it runs through the 28th. Now, I wanted to say this is very important. If you are on a low or no buy, then you don't participate in this event. It's fine. But I feel these types of shopping events are designed for those who wait for them every year. We have the gift card event in the winter and we have another one in spring. And with every $100 you spend, you receive a $20 gift card back. It is sent digitally, so you could spend it right away. I believe you have up to a year to use it. So a lot of people, a lot of makeup shop addicts, they have their list ready, they're all prepared. So I just wanted to share, and a huge thank you to Beautylish for working with me again. This is not so much sponsored, it is more so, hey, what products are you interested in sharing for the gift card event? Do you want to work together again? I'm like, sure. So I have a few newer items that I have requested, but I will go over the items that I have purchased for the last few months from Beautylish as quickly and as concisely as I can, because knowing me, this will already be maybe like an hour long. And with that said, timestamps will be down below, and the way I will structure this video is to go by brand, and within each brand category I'll go over my favorite items, my recommendations, and I'll do my utmost possible best to answer any questions you might have in the comments down below. You see that I'm barefaced because while I share my recommendations, I'll also be applying some makeup and run some b-roll as well, so we'll get a little bit of everything. Get ready with me, recommendations video. Let us start with Beautylish Presents. This was very exciting because Beautylish released their own like brush line, the Yano series face and eye set. I have a dedicated video for the face set, and I have a mashup video where I use the Byredo palette with the eye set. These brushes blew me away. In short, I just love the shapes included. I thought that each set was fairly comprehensive, and my most favorite set was the eyes. I was just not ready for how much I will fall in love with this type of a brush. I mean, I use these like crazy for the softer matte formulas like from Viseart and from Cirque, but I'm just blown away by, again, the versatility, the design of these brushes. I love the handles. It's all black with this edge at the bottom of the handle, and every time I use these brushes, flawless application. Basically, I feel the shapes of the brushes lead the technique and the application. For instance, one of y'all called this like a spork brush. I get it. It's off kilter, is misshapen, and I often feel misunderstood. My favorite brush from the face set, hands down. Loose powder, bronzer, blush, dare I say even highlight. I was using this brush like crazy with the Pat McGrath highlighter, and as well as the Natasha Denona Love Cheek palette, which we'll get to when we get to the Natasha Denona stuff. Someone has said they read a negative review about the handles falling off or becoming knee glued. I've not had any problems with the handles. I have not encountered any issues with the ferrule becoming dislodged from the handle. So let me know if any of you had trouble with that, but I was just so delightfully surprised and impressed by the Yano series, and I cannot wait to see if there will be more designs added to these collections. Tell me if you're coming through. You know, I'm gonna call myself out because I've been using Benefit brow products for a very long time. I've dabbled in other brands, but I keep returning to Benefit. It might be very well because Danessa and Myricks developed the brow products. The brow hues in this collection are just spot on for me. 3.5, which is the shade I rely on, not only for the Precisely My Brow, but also for the Goof Proof, which I always highly recommend. I always highly recommend the Goof Proof, but I've been using the Precisely a lot lately. And again, I use 3.5, but I've also been playing with 2.5 because I really appreciate just that lighter shade to use on the front of my brow And then I go in with 3.5 to shape the rest. So it's more neutral than warm brown, which I love for my own brows. And if I wanted a bolder brow, I'll go in with the Goof Proof. But I've been really loving the Precisely lately. And of course, their 24-hour brow setter I use to fluff the hairs on the brows to make sure they stay. And if I wanted a little more volume, I'll go in with the Give Me Brow. And this is in shade number 3 for a little more fluff. So there's one thing that Benefit has in their lineup that I think worth taking a look at if you haven't already. Most definitely their brow products. Speaking of, I'm gonna put on a little brow right now. Little jelly gel. Someone decided to use the leaf blower. I'm very well aware you can get Bioderma pretty much everywhere. But if you wanted to get this during the gift card event, this is the eye makeup remover I rely on when I'm doing my multi-look videos. This is the original solution. They have several within the line that is oily skin specific and like I guess super dry skin specific. The water used in Bioderma, it's like syringe level, like super high grade. The purification process is impressive, and I think that's why I keep returning to it, especially when I need to just take off the eye makeup. It doesn't sting my eyes. Now, although maybe after like the 3rd or 4th time I get a little teary-eyed at the corners, but my actual lid skin doesn't feel raw or super dry. And I also rely on this if I'm applying several products on my face. Like, this is just my go-to, and I can't use anything else. I know there is the Koyudo. The Koyudo, the dough spa water has been highly recommended, and I think one of the top tier picks for many people who use this type of micellar water product to remove their makeup. The Bioderma is the number one for me. Chikuhodo, I can't tell you how much I love Chikuhodo, and the brush that I requested from Beautylish, I believe last year, was the T11 foundation brush. This brush is hands down, without a doubt, one of my most favorite foundation brushes I have ever used, that I have in my collection. The size of it is perfect. The design of it, exquisite. The matte black design on not only the ferrule, but the handle, and the writing here in red, because you could use it on so many different face sizes. It's not too big, not too small. I could do this under the eyes as well as all over my face, carve out some cream product into the hollows, as well as pounce on cream product on the cheeks, as well as the freaking cheekbones. I'm telling you, this brush right here, one of the best. And I could go on and on and on and on and on and on about the different Chikuhodo brushes that are available on Beautylish. I think it goes without saying, if you stick to the GSN line, well, let me just say this, the Z line is the premium creme de la creme. I can't tell you how many messages I get asking, Alicia, Z1 or Z9. These are made with gray squirrel hair, and gray squirrel is just superb for applying powder product without disturbing the makeup underneath, picking up a lighter amount than a goat hair brush would. So if you want more of a veil of color, gray squirrel. The same thing goes for your eyeshadow application. If you want your eyeshadow to just be a little lighter, if you want the softest of the softest, so that when you're blending, the brush will not move your skin, therefore it's not going to have that skipped type of a lay down or texture on the eyes. And then you have the GSN line that has a mixture of dyed and undyed goat hair brushes, but they're beautiful as well. The GSN 05 is a marvelous goat hair foundation brush. The GSN 02 is more of a pom-pom type of a brush, so you could paint on with the 05 and you could pounce on with the 02. And then you have the 03 cheek brush, which I feel ideal not only for loose powder application, but the size, because it's pinched, you could just fit it beautifully into the hollows, pounce on some blush, and also whip on a little bit of highlight, because again, the sides are flat and you could get that product right here at the edge of the brush and go woo, and you're done. Takumi line that I showed with the T11, amazing. I recently been using the T6 brush. This is an eyeshadow brush which I could get down with for sure for some cream eyeshadow, and it's super big, so you could just whip it through your crease and just have it one and done. You know what I'm saying? But I've been loving this for concealer. Please just whip it on nice and light, especially for those who don't want a heavy application of makeup under the eyes. Because this is goat hair, it's going to take away a little bit of the product and just leave behind the most beautiful finish. Again, I could be here all day on Chikuhodo, but we're going to move on because, again, timestamps. I am so excited to share this next brand because they had recently become a part of the Beautylish fam. That is Cirque Colors. They are an indie brand based in Brooklyn, New York. So I was very happy to see just a different nail polish brand on Beautylish. I've been using Cirque Colors for a very, very long time, and I was first introduced to them by our girl Christine, the Hollow Queen, Simply Nail Logical, when she was ranking black nail polishes. And at the time, before she created her own, she voted Cirque Colors Memento Mori as the best black nail polish ever. I love Christine. I do. I prefer Cirque's because of the smaller brush, and this is the next point as to why I would recommend you look into Cirque Colors. Their cream formula, self-leveling, it just glides on the nail like butter. It looks like the creamiest texture for nails. Not only that, but they have other beautiful finishes, very edited, so they don't have all the colors available in their line on Beautylish, but I think they did a really great job in, or Beautylish, selecting the ones that they would like to sell. I have both Urbanized, the most beautiful mustard you will ever see, and a Fiori, like this just gorgeous lavender color. And friends, you know, it's very rare that I would wear a cream only. You know how I'm with the topper stuff, and Cirque Colors has some sick toppers. Maybe Beautylish will get those soon. For those who just like to wear the creams, because I get it, you know, sometimes it's just nice to keep it simple. Cirque Colors, by far my most favorite brush. It's on the smaller side. Now, of course, you might not appreciate that. I do, because I don't have the widest nail bed edge. Is more of like an oval. And yes, I gently push my cuticles back to get a little more surface area there, but I still need the smaller brush, fam. I still need it. Some people prefer a wider brush with a rounded edge. I get it. That doesn't work super well on my nails, and that's why I absolutely adore Cirque Colors nail brush design, because it's just ideal, I think, generally for smaller nails. You have a hard time getting the polish on the nail, and it doesn't pull in around the edges of the cuticles. Fun shade Vanitas. It's like an iridescent opal duochrome type. I mean, you could go nuts, but I had to share because, again, I've been using Cirque Colors for a very long time. They're one of my most favorite nail polish brands, and I was just thrilled to see them on Beautylish. And with that, I highly recommend this. I actually requested a shade, but it's not going to be here until Friday, so I might put that down either on the community or on the shorts. I know I'm new to the shorts. I really don't know how they work, but I'll figure it out. You got to go with the creams. You got to check out the creams, man. I'm telling you. Danessa Myricks. Our girl. The one standout product that I think we all might be thinking about is her Balm Contour. Yeah, I kept them in the boxes. I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself. Medium 1, 2, 3, and light number 2. I have a full-on dedicated video talking about these. I will apply light 2 in this video because I have not, or I don't think you have seen it in action. So that's what I'm going to do. But I have to briefly speak about the formula of this product. Danessa is a professional makeup artist and professional photographer, and her perspective revolves around and is heavily influenced by skin. How it looks on photographs, how you can just touch it. I mean, the texture of all the models, the skin's models that she works with, it's just so visceral, okay? I'm talking about glowing, just illuminated like stars. If stardust was crushed and painted on some of these people's skin, it'll be like Danessa Myricks' makeup. I know, so dramatic, but that's how I feel. And with the Balm Contour, Danessa doesn't like to use a lot of powder. Okay, she relies heavily on cream products because, yes, cream products will yield more of that skin-like finish, more of like that skin-like result. It's not going to look as artificial as a powder. Now her Lightwork palette, one of the few powder products she offers in her line, but one of the best. I'll get there in a minute. The Balm Contour is a cream, but it dries down to more like a powder finish without looking like a powder. This is in light 2, and the one critique that I think people have is that the Balm Contours, all of them, even the light one, this is light 2, they do lean very warm. But I will have to say though, the texture is completely and utterly perfect. It has a beautiful natural finish without looking too overly glossy, without feeling heavy on the skin. It just blends like butter. It just doesn't disappear. It just looks diffused instantly. You can apply this on cream products or liquid products. You can apply it over powder as well. Danessa formulated this, so it's highly versatile in terms of what you choose to apply this on. You won't run into the makeup muddying up or moving strangely or just looking like, ooh, I screwed up. You know what I'm talking about. It's happened to me, that'll happen to you. And this formula, risk-free. You will not run into that problem. And the Lightwork palette, while I understand this is a lot of product for one person, if you were to get just one highlighter palette, it has to be this one. Danessa also offers Lightwork 2, which has the more coppery, deeper bronzier hues for deeper skin tones. The shine on this, I mean, like freaking glass. And the way it melts into the skin is just... Those are my standout Danessa products. I have a lot of Danessa, but again, I wanted to make this video as streamlined as possible. And Beautylish has been carrying Danessa for a very long time. So I'm so happy that they have her new products there right around when she features them on her site. But the Balm Contour for me, from the products that I have used thoroughly last year or this year, when did I buy the Balm Contour? I forgot. Exquisite. Good molecules. An inexpensive skincare brand that delivers potent results. This is what their thing is about. I gotta say though, I really appreciate Good Molecules' simplicity, their just minimalistic approach to skincare, the fact that they have the oils, they have the moisturizer, they have the cleansers. I just love how, for instance, the moisturizer, no fragrance. The rose water gel cleanser, no fragrance. I am finishing, or about to, my second bottle of the silicone-free moisturizer. I got another one on standby in my closet. I'm nearly done with the rose water cleansing gel. See, almost at the bottom. I have a second bottle at Bay's house. I actually brought it to him so he could use it, but he hasn't really been. It's fine. I appreciate how this can take my makeup off, how I could put it in and near my lash line and it doesn't burn. It's a gel and it suds up a little bit, but when I rinse it off my skin doesn't feel stripped. It feels just pleasantly soft and cleansed. And I also love the texture of the gel. It has like a creamy type of a foam that just feels good to massage around your skin. And back to the silicone-free moisturizer. I mean, this stuff, I just cannot get enough. This is my favorite moisturizer to apply during the day. 2 reasons. It looks exquisitely beautiful under makeup, okay? It serves perfectly for me as a primer. I tend to get a little drier during the winter months, and this is just enough. If I need something a little more, then maybe I'll put on the Soon-Young or maybe the Klairs Blue Calming Cream. And even in the summertime, I appreciate still a little plushness, and I will still apply this under my sunscreen, which is reason number 2. I think this is still light enough, but moisturizing also to apply under your sunscreen without your skin feeling heavy. It's a creamy texture, but it still feels lightweight on the skin. It does not feel greasy or heavy. It doesn't feel overly emollient. I mean, I use other moisturizers. They are in my rotation, but when the morning routine is about to go down, okay, and I apply my vitamin C serum and I apply my Dr. Sam Azelaic with the Brightly serum, this comes right after. I'm about to crack into my third bottle. I still might buy another one after that one. And the last product from Good Molecules that I will share as a favorite is the Yerba Mate Wake Up Eye Gel. I've been using this for, I think, maybe a month and a half now. The premise behind this is that the mate is supposed to like wake up your under eyes, right? I have relinquished to the fact that if I want my under eyes to look bright and awake, that I just need to get more sleep. That's on me. Okay, that's my responsibility. But what I will rely on an eye cream product for is really nice moisture and great makeup prep. This is more of like a gel cream type of consistency that grew on me. At first, I wasn't entirely sure if I would appreciate this texture, but I have to say, I appreciate the lightweight gel texture in the morning because I just feel it does have that sense of waking up, of revitalization, you know? But more importantly though, I adore how it looks under my concealer. It really just leaves a nice plush bouncy texture on the skin. So whatever I choose to apply thereafter, the skin is not going to look dry or cakey or textured. The makeup is going to blend beautifully there. The actual eye gel is not going to leave behind like that goopy heavy texture. I don't feel it under my eyes. And not only here, but I apply it all over. I mean, orbital area, okay? And because of the gel, there's just a little bit of tack that I really like. It just serves, you know, those gripping primers. I feel this is like a grippy type of an eye gel for concealer for the under eyes. I'm gonna put a little bit on right now, actually. Just a little. Very cooling upon contact. I'm pretty sure you could, you know, if you have a Good Molecules fridge, you have it in there. This from the fridge, ooh, that's a nice boost. Well, some of my nude sticks, which we're gonna talk about when we get to the nude sticks. Finally, we're at the Koyudo. Koyudo, I feel, is like a cult favorite where, you know, when it comes to the Japanese makeup formulations, specifically in the category of foundation, foundation is tricky because you want a great match, of course, but you want your skin to still look like itself, to appear that there's barely nothing on it, but you still want the coverage, you still want the evenness, you just want the sorcery, okay? You want to cover all the blemishes, all the discoloration, but you not look like you got any foundation on. And I think this is what Koyudo accomplishes. I have requested the Manfainshi Moisture Foundation. I was highly impressed by their Aqua foundation, and here I have some footage of me applying both. The Moisture Foundation, although both in 143, has a much warmer tone than the 143 from the Aqua foundation. And when I apply the Moisture Foundation on this side, you see as a little bit of warmth to my skin, and it leaves behind a really beautiful natural finish. There's definitely a little more dew from the moisture than there is from the Aqua foundation. On the Aqua foundation side is much lighter in consistency. I still get great coverage, but you can see that the Moisture Foundation side has a little bit more coverage and also just a little bit more glow. And with that said, I think it's time for you to get a little closer. That's enough. And I appreciate this tube. It's expensive though. $79 for 0.7 product ounces. I think the typical foundation amount is at least an ounce. We're getting under an ounce here, fam, but you know what? Sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. It says 3 pearl-sized bits of foundation, but my bits turned out to be a little bigger. Of course, gotta go in with the Chikuhodo T11, and immediately, I don't know if you could just detect the silky texture. I definitely applied way too much. Oops. I just, I got a little crazy because I'm so satisfying to apply foundation from the tube like that. But you don't need a lot of product. It just moves beautifully across the skin. It glides like silk. And I especially love the color. I like this color match better than the 143 from the Aqua. The Aqua is just a little light for me, which is fine because I have been combining the Aqua with other foundations or concealers just to balance out the color a little bit. And even though it's a moisture foundation, it doesn't feel particularly heavy on the skin, nor does it leave behind too much of a glow. I think it leaves the perfect amount behind that doesn't look like I'm a grease ball. And whenever you apply too much foundation, I would highly recommend, between blending, you just gently wipe your Chikuhodo brush on a microfiber towel. Oh, wait a minute. I have my Sonia G towel. I just remembered, but my Sonia G towel is under all these brushes. It's fine. It's fine. Warning you, this video might be a two-parter, meaning I might continue filming tomorrow. But you know what? That just keeps it exciting. Let's quickly apply Danessa's Bomb Contour in Light 2. And using the same T11 brush, this is a really nice color if you don't want too much contour, like just the lightest amount. Again, it just melts beautifully into the skin. It's nearly undetectable. You cannot make out any lines of distinction, meaning like, oh, that just looks abruptly like she applied contour there. Not at all. The tone I love too. It's not too warm on me, but I get that my skin tone is more neutral golden, I like to say. But light 2, if you're my complexion or a little lighter and you don't want like a whole lot of contour, light 2 could work. Koyudo, another favorite brand of mine. This is from their Kakeshi Buzomi persimmon, excuse me. Their bristles dyed with persimmon. That just one of the most beautifully constructed brushes I have in my collection. This is, I believe, one of their powder designs, and then you have one that's pinched on the side. It is just, what can I say? One of my most favorite Koyudo brushes ever is from their premium series. This is the number 2 eyeshadow brush. When you want to, talk about one and done construction brushes, through the crease, on the lid, lower lash line, inner corner, done. This brush does it all. It has really nice pickup and it's slightly tapered here, but still flat and fluffy. So you're going to lay down on the side and you're going to use the rest of the brush to blend out the edges of your eyeshadow. If you feel like you can't get the eyeshadow thing down, if you don't like eyeshadow, but you're willing maybe to apply one shade, this brush right here, I believe it's in number 4, which is a little smaller. So if you have smaller eyes and you're concerned this might be too big, get the smaller brush that's similarly designed. It's basically this design but smaller, on a smaller scale. You're gonna get that lay down, you're gonna still get that blend. Okay, and probably even better for a tighter application under the lash line, as well as a tighter application here on the inner corner. Just so good. They kind of got massacred during that foundation application, so I'm just, Shamo. I'm living dangerously. I'm not going to apply any powder. Excuse me. Natasha Denona. What can I say? When it comes to Natasha, there's so many things you can buy from her. I think Natasha is most well known for her outrageously expensive and huge eyeshadow palettes that come either in the 28 pan size, original and midi 28, the 15 pan size, original and midi sized, the 5 pan shadows, the mini eyeshadow palettes. She has a lot of formats now in her line. I remember it was just those huge 228 pan eyeshadow palettes. The most recent Cirque Loco for me is, this is for the color fan. If you want some color, you will get this palette. I have a bunch of I have a first impressions up that has like 6 looks in that freaking video. I also have some stuff on my Instagram. Can't highly recommend that enough. However, if you're one to just lean more towards like a softer type of a look, her bronze palette is exceptionally beautiful. Her glam palette, if you want more cooler tones, like cooler silver, pewter, taupe, goldy, bronzy shades. Lila is my all-time favorite. Full stop. You have Sephora, which a lot of people didn't like. I get it. It's all matte, but I still like that palette. Tropic, that has the colorful last row and the softer neutrals on the top. Metropolis is one of the most beautiful palettes in all the land. I know it's 28 pans, but man, are those combinations beautiful. I could go on and I could be here all day. However, I wanted to move into her Love Cheek palette because this was definitely one of my most favorite palette duos for the cheeks. I especially love this cream formula. It is from her Diamond and Blush palette, from the Daria one, but I particularly love this formula. Is one of the more softer powder finishes from cream blushes that I have used before, but because of that, I think is more suitable for normal to oily skin. Whereas if you feel cream blush, it's just too slick on you and you don't have a really nice time applying it, well, this formula might work out just beautifully. And as I mentioned earlier, with my Yano series number 2, this highlighter is absolutely beautiful, and I just whip it over everything. Over everything. I believe this is a gray and goat hair combination. You get nice pickup from the goat, but just enough. And of course, the squirrel will blend it flawlessly. There we go. I put on the light just so you can see a little bit of that glassy skin. And now we finally arrived to the nude sticks. One of you had asked me about what I think comparing nude sticks to all the cream blush products that have recently released. I haven't used nude sticks extensively, so I was really happy to have this opportunity. And of course, I requested the Alana Davidson collab that she did with nude sticks. I don't know how long ago, but I looked at the shades and it appeared that a lot of the shades included in this set were crowd favorites. So here in the demo, I applied in the nude, which I gotta say, really like this texture. It's more of a cream type of a gel. Is very creamy upon application, but when you apply it on your skin, it dries down to a more natural finish, and I think it just blends beautifully where it doesn't look artificial and it doesn't disappear. It has the right amount of grab, and this color in particular I think just perfect, where it's not too peachy, not too pink, it's not too browny tawny, whereas sometimes those shades I have to apply higher on my cheeks, but I could apply this on the apples of my cheeks just fine. And the highlighter, hey honey is making me look super nice and glossy on the cheekbones, and I really love the gold tone of this highlighter. If I'm looking for a more natural finish on the cheekbones, if I don't want to go with the powder, then I could use this all on its own, and I think the finish left behind is exquisite. It's a really nice texture. I'm happy that I bought the set because I've been thoroughly enjoying those products. And the actual nude sticks, what I just applied, is exclusive to the Alana Davidson collab, the gel color lip and cheek bond in Sen Nude. Technically, you can use this on the cheeks, but because it's a little more glossy, I prefer to have this on my lip. But the actual color is really nice. It's a peachy nude, but more on the neutral side. And the rest of the nude sticks here, we have Terra, Cocoa, Gilt, and a lip and cheek pencil in Royal, which is the more red. I definitely appreciate a chunky pencil for the eyes because sometimes I feel that's a really nice medium for photo shoots where I don't want to totally commit to a powder eyeshadow look, but the cream pencil medium I think is great to add just the right amount of shading to create dimension on the eyes, but not for the eyes to look overwhelmed. And Royal, if you want like a really high impactful cheek moment, you apply that color on the cheeks, and to have a beautiful red lip, which I feel really easy to apply with this type of a pencil. You get around the perimeters of your lips really nicely, and I just think makes for a really easy application. Now, would I replace all my cheek products with nude sticks? Not necessarily. I still like a compact moment, but I do recognize the ease of use with pencils, and I think really ideal for that person who just wants to go one and done, who doesn't like to use brushes or tools, they just like to use their fingers, pop it on, then I think nude sticks is going to be the right approach, the right brand for that type of application. This is where we're going to have dinner, and I'm going to be back here tomorrow to continue this recommendations video. Where was I? I wanted to quickly go back to the nude sticks because I had wanted to share some demos. I did with them today. I much prefer the Intense Matte Lip and Cheek Pencil as a lipstick here. I apply it in the shade Royal. Amazingly beautiful red with that slightly cool undertone. It has a rich texture to it and it looks like velvet. I'm not crazy though about it on my skin. It did move my foundation and I did see it gather on a few of my pores, so I will limit this formula to just my lip and I will probably use the actual all over color formula instead for cheek products. I then went in with the magnetic matte color in both Cocoa, Gilt, and Terra. Terra is like a peachy shade that's nice on its own on the lid. It wasn't anything profound. I actually think that Cocoa was the most impactful one for me and that I loved it as a one and done moment where I could just smudge this on my lash line and create quick smoke. And I could apply Gilt on the inner corner of my eye or maybe use it as a base shade for another shimmer highlighter I could put on the inner corner that's a powder formula. Sonia G. What can I say? I believe I have all of Sonia's brushes that were released with her first fundamental set all the way through her mini Kiyaki set. What I can say is that Chelsea, Kelsey, and I had the pleasure of interviewing Sonia on our Behind the Beauty series. Sonia is kindness manifested. I mean, there's nothing else more than I could say to describe her. She also has a phenomenal blog called sweetmakeuptemptations.com where she talks about different Fude brushes from different brands. She provides beautiful photos, the dimensions of the brushes, the feel of the brushes, and when she had the opportunity to create her own brush line and have Beautylish sell it, all of her releases have been what I feel so beautifully thought out, just very detailed in what her intentions are, in why she wanted this to be that design or that brush length or used with undyed or dyed goat hair. Sonia's brushes for me have so much strategy in their design that you can't help but feel confident and excited to use her tools. And I think the quintessential shape, anytime I think about a Sonia G brush, is going to be her Sculpt 1. This is, I think, one of my first major fan brushes that I've ever used. And when I learned about why a fan is designed the way it is, what goat hair is or Chikuhodo goat hair is and what it's good for, that really opened up my eyes to Fude. So I have to thank Sonia for that and just enlightening me in that respect with all the information out there about Fude, the different types of brushes and the different types of hairs that are used to create them. This is from her Face Pro, the Noche Gay Pro, one of the most quintessential brushes I think ever to be designed. This teardrop shape that's very much inspired by a calligraphy brush. You could do anything with this brush. Loose powder, whip around, tap on blush, even highlighter, zip on some bronzer or contour. And then you have her smaller brushes. This is from her Sky set, which one of my most favorite because the blue gradient handle is just simply exquisite. This is her mini cheek and you can see how ideal it is for highlighter. You could even slap on like a one and done shade across your lid, draw down some contour or bronzer along the sides of your nose. And I could go on forever about Sonia G brushes, but one of my favorites from her Sky Eye set is the Jumbo Blender. I mean, this thing picks up a ton of product and still fluffy enough to pull it through the crease, blur the edges. You could also pull it through the lash line, the lower lash line. It's so multi-purpose, but again, the minute you use these brushes, and this is not just from me, this is from several makeup users who have purchased Sonia G, use other brushes, and they're like, wow, I understand why you speak the way you do about her brushes, why you continue to use them, because they amplify, I'm not even kidding, they amplify your makeup application. They make you feel like you can be your own makeup pro. You could use whatever texture makeup, you could take on whatever makeup technique. You have these tools, you're good to go. That's it. And to know the person behind these designs is just such a lovely human that they're so passionate. I mean, like, passionate is not even the word, okay? Advanced level passionery to give you the very best designs she can imagine and to share that vision and to just know how much time Sonia spends on these designs, how much time she spends with the artisans in Japan to ensure that what she is going to produce with them, because it is a collaborative effort, is going to be the best tools she can possibly deliver, giving all the circumstances and just giving all the materials that she has available. And I think that's why I keep buying from Sonia no matter what. No matter what she comes out with, I know it's going to be a hit. I know. And not to say that each and every brush from her is a favorite. I definitely have a ranking within my own Sonia G list. But no matter what though, consistently, when she produces a brush, it's gonna be good. Whether it be any of the pro face or eye sets or the sky, eye, and face sets, you'll be good. Those are my favorites. However, for face, definitely pro. For eye, definitely sky. And then of course, we are all waiting for a larger version of her mini base. I mean, this combination of synthetic, dyed, and undyed goat hair is marvelous for complexion products. So I cannot wait until she creates something larger. If she is, I'm just putting it out there. But I can't help but say great things about Sonia. You will not be disappointed with any of her designs, and I would love to know what your experience has been, because definitely if you are participating in the gift card event and you've been waiting, this is the time. Do it. You'll be so happy. Surratt Beauty, most recently they released their newer brow pomade shades. Originally they had just clear, but now they have light brown, dark brown. I believe they have like a blonde shade. This stuff is great because it has the color, but the brush, I feel, just combs through the hair in a way that a spoolie just doesn't. Like, because it's more of a brush, you get more fluff. And because of the color, you add a little more dimension to your brow. And that's why sometimes I like to run through the light brown shade, because it's almost like I'm adding highlights to my brow, therefore will make them pop more, will just make them, again, multi-dimensional in how they look on my face. They don't look as flat, and the pomade has a little bit of hold. So not only are you going to get a little bit of color, but you're going to get some of that fluff and hold from the product. And again, the brush design, I feel, is ideal for that result. And to give you some perspective too, Troy Surratt makes his brushes also in Japan. And the whole aesthetic with Surratt, that is heavy, lightweight. Their eyeshadows have like this slurry texture to them that reminds me of the Suku. That's very lightweight and easy to blend. The minute you bring the shadows in contact with your skin, especially if you're using a Sonia Yano series brush or a Chikuhodo brush, my god, it just blends like butter. Like literal silk across the lid. And the textures are not heavy. I think ideal for the makeup wearer that wants to make an impact, but a more elegant one versus like an avant-garde or an Instagram makeup guru moment. I think that's the role Surratt plays in regards to the eyeshadows, as well as the cheek products. Now this blush duo is just, I mean, the colors are outrageously vibrant. This, I believe, is like hot orange, and I forgot the name of the pink, but so beautifully bright. And I wanted to quickly show you the eyeshadows. They're just so soft and have this beautiful skin-like and sheen finish to them that, again, it's just marvelous to blend, and the result is simply stunning. And if we want, we could take our Noche Pro, maybe do the hot orange, place it here on the cheeks. And the thing is, it's so lightweight that you don't have to be scared of the color. It just melts into the skin and becomes your skin. I mean, to call this a powder is, for me, a little inaccurate, I believe. It's like applying silk on your skin. And you can build the color accordingly. You could go light with it, you could go heavier with it, and no matter how many layers you apply, it's not going to look artificial. It's not going to look like it's laid on the skin like a powder. The powder texture, or whatever this is, going to fuse with your skin, become one with it, and just appear like you created this flush all by yourself. Do this color. Just do maybe a little higher, And by the way, I had the Kogen dough on. I decided just to be, consistent with, when I'm recommending my videos. I put more of the Aqua 143 all over and the moisture on the perimeters of my cheeks. Ready for the summertime. Their eyelash curler, one of the most magnificent tools that I own. The angle is exclusive to them also. It makes it very comfortable to use, and there's less of a risk for you to pinch the actual lash skin. So it's a really great tool and makes it very easy to achieve that curl again without the hurt. And I have to recommend Units too. Units is one of their more inexpensive brush lines that they carry that's all synthetic fiber, and the role I feel synthetic brushes play in my life is if I wanted to use heavier, dudier textures and colors, the shadows that tend to stain, like even a Natasha Denona Cirque Local palette, I wouldn't use my Sonia G brushes on, but I would use like a Units brush or something, even if it's still natural hair that's not as delicate as like a Sonia G brush, that I would have to wash to get the stain out of the bristles quickly and more frequently. So if I were to use a synthetic brush, I could wash those brushes every few days instead of once a month, because they could take a little more of a beating during that process, and then I don't mind if the synthetic fibers get stained, versus I would definitely mind if, and it has already happened that my undyed goat hair brushes, those poor babies, got stained. I'm so sorry. But the standout item that I wanted to share from Units that I highly recommend and I've been using non-stop, the clear bags. I know it's like, really? These are all over the place. I don't know, man. These dimensions are really cool. I've been using the big and the small version non-stop, and I like the fact that it's a top zipper. I dig whether the opening is at the top or the opening is from the side. What I appreciate is the clear all around, where I can see what's inside. And listen, I've splurged on pretty toiletry bags that are, you know, faux, vegan, whatever material, look really nice, come in different colors. I feel like I don't want to use it because I don't want to screw it up. You know, when it comes to packing liquids and creams, things could get dirty. You can have an accident, something can open, and then your beautiful toiletry bag is destroyed. When it's something like this, you could easily wash it, you could wipe it. It's plastic, so it's waterproof, you know? You don't have to worry about the material getting ruined by anything that's water or liquidy or whatever is in here. And it just makes it easy for me to pack. I can see what's already in here, and I can see what I gotta add. I actually want to get another pair so I could use those for my electronics, for my mics and stuff, because again, you see what's in here, you see what you have to add. It's a square with the rounded edges, so it could fit easily in other bags. It's wonderful. Simply wonderful. And back to the brushes, I would highly recommend if you are on a budget or you usually just use synthetic brushes anyway. I think the Units line has an extensive offering of different shapes and sizes of both face and eye brushes that I think you can benefit from. Viseart for me is the pro makeup brand that wants to deliver that experience to the consumer, right? They are best well known, for their 12 pan pro palettes that have been redesigned a few years back to have this thinner pan frame model and grooves within the pan frame to lodge out these magnetic pans. So you have a little more freedom as an artist. And again, this is very much artist design because you see the makeup, right? It's not covered like, for instance, this guy. This is more from their recent Etendu, which I had requested to be sent. This is in Minxette, designed with the consumer in mind because it has the prettier packaging with the design, but it still has that pro element because the magnetic frame still exists with these grooves here, whereas with the pro pan you have more of a modest design, so you can see the makeup, because when you're working you got to see what you need and get to it. This is in Paris Nudes, very soft, and I think so appropriate for, you know, the makeup moments, the photography moments that you don't want anything crazy. You just need the right amount of color and shading to create dimension on the eyes and face and not make the skin look overwhelmed with makeup. And I wanted to bring up that point because lots of times, if you don't know that about Viseart and you use them and you use indie or you use like the heavier duty textures that exist in Natasha Denona or Pat McGrath offerings, you're like, Viseart sucks, their shimmers are not shiny enough, they don't have enough punch. I think they're made like that for a reason, because there are people who don't like those heavier duty textures on their skin. If you have texture on your lid, a metallic that's super creamy and super pigmented might not look the greatest on your lids. You need something more like veil in finish that has a lot more slip, that has more glide and blend, and because of that, it might not have the same impact like the pow wow razzle dazzle finishes that we often see in a lot of beauty brands that I own, that I absolutely love, but they have their place. And I understand that might not exist in everyone's makeup routine and makeup expectations. And I think that's the role Viseart plays for a lot of makeup wearers, to have like that softer moment of shadow and shade and color, and it just looks so beautiful. For instance, Paris Love Letter, which many people didn't like, but I really liked it. I thought it was so spring-like in finish, and this shade in particular, this green shimmer, yes, not the most pow-wow thing you have ever seen, but when I had used this palette and allowed the shimmers to just settle onto my lid, it left behind a beautiful twinkle-like effect that looked so elegant, so lightweight, but the sparkle and the impact was still present. And if you've been eyeing one of their huge palettes, I know they recently released their extra large. This is the original Grand Pro 1. I mean, if you have this sucker, you really don't need any other mattes in your life. I get it, I have all the mattes still because I'm a makeup addict. But this, though, I think if you don't have any makeup at all, like at all, and you wanted to look into getting just one huge matte palette, Viseart makes one of the most outstandingly just formulated mattes in the market. Full stop. These mattes, although they might not swatch the best, the way they blend on your lids, you don't have to do anything. They blend themselves. And the pigmentation, the way the colors are formulated, are done so in a way that when you layer them, they don't turn muddy. They enhance each other, which is very tough to come by because I've noticed colors that might look the same from different brands have different undertones. And if the undertones are not right, when you start combining and layering, you could run into problems. Now with Viseart, undertones are made in a way that you'll just get another color. Okay, it's gonna add dimension to your look. And here when I use Minxette, no matter how I applied these shades, I mean, they're just so soft. And I just love combining shimmers on top of the mattes and mattes on top of the shimmers. Nothing looked muddied, nothing looked heavy on the eyes. I just really appreciated this formula. And I do think out of all the three Etendu formats, because we also have Violette, which is more of the purple story, Love Letter is more of your springtime moment. Minxette, I think, probably is the more popular ones because it has the rustic rose gold bronzy tones. It even has the really nice plum in there, the tan terracotta shades that I feel people generally are just more comfortable using and applying on their eyes. Found that I loved both looks that I did, and the fact that I could rely on this palette just for one and done looks. I could use any of these shades, apply them on my lids, and be done. I could use the matte, especially the cooler tone one, to create a little shading in my crease if I wanted to keep it lightweight for a shoot. Or I could rely on the Grand Pro palette, and any of these shades you could use on the face as well as on your brows. If you have a very thin brow brush, you can use any of the deeper shades or even lighter ones depending on your skin color and your hair color to create some nice brows. You can mix and match the shades to create matte highlighting, contouring. So it's very comprehensive, and the softer offerings like Solstice and Apricotine I think are nice as everyday moments. They're not super big. You don't have to commit to like something as large as the Grand Pro one. And now we have arrived. When Goss, I said Sonia G enlightened my Fude brain space, but when Goss was my first Fude purchase. I bought his Anniversary 2 set. I believe it might have been 2017. My goodness. And ever since then, a wrap. I now understood the difference between Fude and brushes that are not made in Japan. I realized immediately how uncut hair makes such a difference. Now, of course, I've grown from that and I realized different hair types and shapes and designs yield this type of result. I forgot whether it was 2019 or 2020. Wayne finally released his makeup items. Imperial Topaz was his first eyeshadow palette. Definitely one of the more versatile offerings. Pearl Moonstone was more of with the blues and the grays. Definitely a specific look, right? You could definitely use any of the grays and the silver as like an everyday thing, but if you want something with the more brown tones and the bronze, definitely go with Imperial Topaz. But my favorites were the blush palettes. I know these might not have been a hit for many people, but I gotta say, in addition to his artist brushes, I thought these were very nice. I thought they were easy to use. The fact that they were so versatile in texture, like you could apply this first and then take the powder or the matte powder on top of the powder highlighter and create like that really nice glass effect. That was in Coral Rose. That was, I feel, sold out for a very, very freaking long time. Blush Peony is, I think, like the lighter. That's more of like a iridescent opal finish for the highlighter. Bright Poppy was one of my favorites too. This gold, I thought the textures of the highlighters were really lovely. And again, the fact that you could layer them under or over each other and get different results, different finishes, and they look beautiful on camera and on photographs. In terms of the standout favorites, again, the Artist Series brush that he released, I think in 2019 it might have been, from Wayne, my most favorite set from him. And he recently released these as individuals, which I love because I adore this brush for under the eyes, cheekbones as you saw, and the Artist Large just for all the tasks. Loose powder, cheek products, blush, highlighter, bronzer, even highlighter, but I would use this one for highlighter. And there's an even smaller brush, the Artist Small, right here. If you just want to pinpoint your highlighter application or even use this for eyes, if I were to take this shade and just strike it across my lids, you could get a really nice shading of color, and the point is going to pull it out and create a beautiful wing shape with the shadow. So this is definitely my most favorite set, and I think design wise is absolutely beautiful. The wooden handles, the shapes of the brushes, I definitely would recommend. If I were to pick one set from Wayne, it'll be that. And the synthetic brushes, I don't know what the deal is with some of the restock items, but I know 24S, the synthetic fan, I used to use the heck out of this, and because it got lost with all the brushes that I should be rotating through, I blame Chikuhodo. I use this a lot for foundation application. It whipped it on so fast, and because it's a fan, it gets around your nostrils beautifully through the brow, especially this part right here. When the brush is a little bigger, sometimes tricky, especially if you do your brows before foundation application. This gets through the brows and over them so well, especially down and around the temple, jawline, brush it down. From all his synthetic brush offerings, and maybe he will expand, that'll be great. The 24S, bae. And without a doubt, his airbrush. This, I think, for under the eye, forget it. So soft. Down the nose, cheekbones, of course. You could even use this for a more intense contour or bronzer moment, because look at that swirl and twirl. It just gets it right there to the hollows, down the jawline as well. I'm going in with Wayne's brushes now. This is from his first eye set. These are with Gray Squirrel, and it's so soft. Why not? Let's go in with the nude stick. Wayne has a synthetic pencil brush, but at the moment I'm using Sonia's Pencil Pro. Is undyed goat hair, therefore I could use it with this type of a texture. Adding a little bit of smoky smoke here on the lash line. And using my Surratt curler to get these lashes up and up. Up on some mascara. Oh, I think that's it. Took me 2 days to film this video. I'm happy though that I was able to share all my recommendations. I know I talk a lot, as I am often reminded, and I have a lot of products to share, but I also anticipate the questions too, just based on our interactions from previous videos. And I never want this to sound like you have to get everything. The reason why I'm so chatty and I like to share different perspectives on all products is because everyone is so different, and I want to make sure that you're comfortable with whatever you choose to get and you're comfortable with what you choose not to get. And of course, I'll try my very best to answer any questions that you have down below. Let me know if you're going to participate in this year's Beautylish gift card event, if you have already done it, if you bought all the things already and you just want to share your favorites down below. I will see you down in the comments. And a huge thank you to Beautylish for working with me again on this video. Thank you for sending the products that I requested. It's always a pleasure. And until then, fam, that is a wrap. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video helped. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and maybe consider subscribing to my channel. And until then, I will see you on here again with another review, tutorial, gift card extravaganza event, monthly favorites, or nightly live chit chat. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.